I think we're making positive strides. We just need to make more.
Jim said that you didn't think this was a successful year.
Right.
Why do you feel that way, and how would you evaluate the year?
Did we win a championship? Did we get close? So no, that's my mindset. That's just how it is.
I knew, today's game 7, unload the clip, have no regrets, because I would hate to, be pissed all summer about not shooting the ball today. So, for me, it was just about coming out playing the right way.
Before we took that little break, you were verbally Paul Pierce and Jalen Brunson's jersey. Like I had to hold you back from going at New York, man. So have at it.
No, I like New York. Look, it's one of my favorite cities in the world. It is. And I like the Knicks. I appreciate what they've done. But this is not a let's go in on New York. This is probably let's go in on the East Coast, myself included. Everybody where I live in Boston was just already prepared for Boston, New York. Oh, this is going to be great. This is going to be great. We might have.
Wait, you're including yourself in that?
Yeah, I listen. I thought when they went up 3-2.
Not with me.
At the beginning of the series.
Oh, okay. Because it's been a long time since we talked. I was about to say. I was the one fast forwarding. I specifically remember fast forwarding to Boston after that Philly New York classic. I was fast forwarding. You were like, "Hold on, player."
Oh, I know. And I got caught up.
I don't know what you said in the interim, but I got
caught up.
But you had to hold me back from overlooking Indiana.
It was peer pressure. Mm-hmm. Peer pressure got to me. Just all these folks around here in Boston.
Yeah.
And as a matter of fact, I remember talking to a family from New York on Friday. This is on Friday morning. Man, wouldn't this be great if the Bruins can come back in their series against the Panthers? Then it could be Bruins Rangers, and then it could be Knicks Celtics. You have Bruins Rangers in the conference finals. You have Knicks Celtics in the conference finals. New York, Boston. It's a bit much for the rest of the country, but we'll enjoy it. We're going to be loud. It's going to be a lot of trash talking. No. Bruins lose, see you later, going home. And they would have been swept by the Rangers anyway. And now the Knicks are going home because they just felt like, hey, being in Madison Square Garden, Game 7 against these young, inexperienced Pacers was going to be enough for them. That was just going to be enough for them.
It was a coronation. It was a formality.
Should have won.
Yep.
Hey, that freak shot. It took a freak shot in Game 3 to beat us, 31-footer. He didn't want to take that 3. Game 4 is an aberration. They ain't gonna blow us out like that again. It's just. You know what it's like on the East Coast. It's almost like underneath every East Coast conversation is, you know what, you ain't shit. You ain't really
pretty much.
You ain't really that good.
You ain't that fine good. Anyway. You aren't that fine.
Exactly.
You ain't that. That's okay. Keep walking. You ain't that fine anyway.
All right, fine.
You lucky somebody trying to holler at you. Like, why? Man?
Right.
Why it's gotta be all that?
Yeah. You got a victory, but there's an asterisk next to everything that you've done. But give Indiana credit.
There is no asterisk here.
I've never seen anything like it.
Absolutely.
And you haven't either. Nobody has. Are you kidding me?
No.
Like that is, you couldn't really do that in practice. You couldn't do that against air if you tried to be that hot, that consistently an entire game. That's nuts. So Indiana deserves it. And as I said to you earlier, can Indiana keep going? Yes. You shoot like that? Why wouldn't you?
Boston.
Why can't you?
They won't shoot 67% every game, but Boston should be scared shitless of Indiana right now. Or I should say the Celtics fan base. Because Indiana has everything it takes. We talked about the Nuggets being exposed a little while ago. Indiana has everything it takes to conjure up all the insecurities that Celtics fans have about their team in big moments and in the playoffs. It's like Indiana's depth, Indiana's scoring, Indiana's pun intended pace, everything about the Pacers screams like they could give the Celtics problems, if not beat the Celtics. Like, I have a hard time having the guts, quite frankly, to be transparent, the guts to pick the Pacers just because the Celtics have been the best team all year long. I know it's the playoffs, it's matchups, injuries happen, crazy shit happens, teams get hot. You know, it's a completely different animal than the regular season. I do think the Celtics are the better team, not by that much. God knows not by that much. They should not be heavy favorites against this Pacers team whose offense is every bit as good as the Celtics this year. And so, like, I first have to eat it. I told you before, and maybe it's because I'm not wrong that often. I like being wrong. I love being proved wrong. This gonna be a theme. I know that was so obnoxious. That was even for me. That was obnoxious. Even for me.
East Coast. That's East Coast right there. There it is.
No,
ladies, for those who have never been to the East Coast, that
wasn't East Coast.
There it is right there.
That wasn't East Coast disparaging. That was just me. That was just my shit. That was just me. I know it was bad. I knew it was bad when it came out of my mouth. No, but point is, I love to be proved wrong by people, and I'm gonna get to that in a second as well. And I love to be proved wrong by teams. I love it when teams have the receipts and everybody picked against them, and we can legitimately say, yeah, everybody picked against the Pacers, or most people picked against the Pacers. Even though there's an East Coast bias, I think a lot of people got caught up in the story of the Knicks and their performance. Look, the Knicks, they ran into some bad luck. Two things can be true, and there are reasons, but not excuses. And the Knicks can point to their injuries as a reason, and that may help them sleep well at night. That, you know, we didn't lose because we were outplayed, we would lose because we were undermanned, okay? And that's fine. That does not disqualify or attach any qualifiers to the Indiana Pacers, who rightfully and deservedly qualified for the Eastern Conference Finals. That team is good, that team is deep, that team is exciting, that team is fun, that team is together, that team is cohesive, that team is scrappy. And that team, wait a second, all of a sudden starting to play a little defense. Now you could qualify that and say, well, they were defending a short-handed. I said a little. I didn't say they were the Timberwolves. I said a little. And now they're also guarding a short-handed Knicks team, so you could easily make that as a counter argument. But nonetheless, their defense has improved from couldn't stop a nosebleed and nothing but shootouts early in the season. This is going to be fascinating. This should be a high scoring. I don't think the Celtics can slow them down that much. Will they shoot 67%? No. But I don't think the Celtics are going to completely shut down the Pacers any more than the Pacers could possibly shut down the Celtics. I think this will be a high scoring series, and it'll be close. I think we could see another 7-game series.
I don't know if it goes 7. I think the Celtics will win it in 6. But it's going to be a very competitive series. And it's interesting because it's got a lot of layers to it. One, so early in the season, the Pacers were a different team. They hadn't made the trade for Siakam yet. So early in the season, the Celtics beat the Pacers at Boston Garden by 50 points. They beat them beat them by 50. So there was that version of the Pacers. And then we had this cute little thing called the in-season tournament, which I still think is a joke. But in-season tournament happened. Pacers wanted to win it. The Celtics wanted to win it too for different reasons. The Pacers wanted to win it just to kind of show themselves, establish themselves in a high-profile game because they didn't have many of those in Indiana at the time. And the Celtics and other teams that you mentioned earlier, Celtics, Lakers, Knicks, they're used to their share of high-profile games. So Celtics, Pacers play in the in-season tournament for the right to go to Vegas, and Indiana won. So they beat the Celtics and they advanced to Las Vegas. So there's that part. And that kind of sticks with some members of the Celtics. And then there's that little brother thing. You got a little brother. I am a little brother. So you know what I'm talking about. And everybody out there, if you're a little brother or little sister, you know what I'm talking about. Aaron Nesmith used to be a member of the Celtics. And they just really ragdolled him in practice. Okay, talk a lot of trash. He talk a lot of trash back. And Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown both look forward to just kind of shutting up Nesmith. And Nesmith looks forward to taking on the Celtics. He feels like they gave up on him. He was a first-round pick. He was part of a Malcolm Brogdon trade. But that Malcolm Brogdon trade eventually led the Celtics to Drew Holiday. So there's that. I mean, there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of history between the Celtics and Pacers. I think it's going to be a great matchup too. But I think the Celtics have more talent and more depth than the Patriots. I think they have better players. I think they have more better players. Better player? Really? Yes. Yeah.
No, you said more. You said more depth.
More and depth. Yes. Yep. Yep. So the question is, can the Celtics survive? And the reporting is that it might be a couple of games before we see Kristaps Porzingis. Can the Celtics survive first 2 games at home? First one tomorrow night. Can they survive 2 games without Porzingis against the Pacers? Can they win those games? You know, you go 1-1 against the Pacers. They lost in the first 2 rounds of the playoffs. They've lost both game 2s at the crib. Game 2 to Miami, game 2 to Cleveland. They win game 1, lose game 2, and now you don't have Porzingis. You have Porzingis coming back on the road. You know, that's a storyline as well. But I think the Celtics should get by the Pacers. It won't be easy though.
So how much is the Celtics late game, crunch time, clutch time struggles? How much is that still a story? And the one storyline you didn't reference is former Celtic, once upon a time, Rick Carlisle, versus Joe Mazzulla.
Yep.
Edge Rick Carlisle.
Yes.
Okay. And then some. Edge, you know what I mean? Like, so I anticipate at some point in this lengthy series, 6 or 7, that being a storyline is the coaching matchup.
All right, so to answer your first question, how much of a storyline is Celtics late game, meltdowns, late game execution or lack thereof? Big. It's still a big story, and it should be a big story. We've seen a lot of, in the games that the Celtics have lost, the close games, the games get closer and later. They've had some problems just pulling those things out. Whether it's Joe Mazzulla not calling a timeout, he's good for that. You can use timeouts. You can use them. You can use them. Go ahead. Yeah. Hey, yes. Take more. Take more of them. He sometimes doesn't use timeouts, or when he does use timeouts, the plays don't exactly unfold the way we think they were designed, and Jason Tatum winds up dribbling. At one point, Chris Forsberg, who works with me at NBC Sports Boston, he counted the dribbles Tatum had in a late game loss to Cleveland in the regular season. In the last 20 seconds, Tatum dribbled 19 times. Just dribbled 19 times and then threw up a fadeaway jumper over Darius Garland and missed it. So like that kind of stuff, that execution where the ball's not moving and it gets sticky and just somebody kind of panics, that's a big deal. So if these games are tied down the stretch or close down the stretch, I hate to say it until they prove otherwise, advantage Indiana. Got to prove it.
So you know how in negotiations, we use the term reserving rights. Can I apply that to predictions? Not that anybody's not that I have a contractual obligation to give a prediction, but I said I couldn't work up the nerve to pick the Pacers. Give me 24 hours. Give me 24 hours. Give me 24 hours. I may pick the Pacers in 6. Can't pick them in 7.
6?
I can't pick them in 7. I can't pick them in 7 because then it's another. They gonna go on the road in both gardens. They gonna go shit in 2 gardens. I can't pick them. If I'm gonna pick them, I gotta pick them in 6. If I'm gonna pick them, it would have to be 6. It would have to be 6 if I'm gonna pick them.
That would be.
I'm tempted.
Yeah.
I'm tempted.
And the pressure. Say, how much is
tempted.
pressure? How
much does it matter? A lot.
I think it matters a lot, but I want the kind of professional athlete who embraces it. You got an athlete who is, and let me use the word again, soft. You got a soft athlete. Any sport, any gender, you're soft if you don't like the pressure. If you're a professional athlete and the pressure, if you don't embrace the pressure, I think that's a weakness. I'm going to take points off. The pressure should be good. And so there's a lot of pressure on the Celtics. The way they are described, for those who don't know, the way they're described and talked about at home is, okay, fine. You won in the first round, big deal. You won in the second round, big deal. Whether it's Pacers or Knicks.
Oh, it's nationally.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's nationally.
Pacers, Knicks, doesn't matter. Pacers, Knicks, you're supposed to win that.
They're untrustworthy.
And then, whether it's Mavericks, whether it's the Mavericks or the Timberwolves, you're supposed to beat them. They are the only team of the four that's supposed to. Their fan base looks at it and says, no, we don't look at it. It's not a privilege. It's not a blessing. And every day, and I didn't know. No, their fan base says, you're supposed to be here and you're supposed to win the whole thing. And anything short of that is a failure. That's what they have going into the Final Four. Can they deal with it?
I don't think. I thought you were saying something slightly different, but I think the point still stands. I think that's their national perception as well. It's like they've been the best team. This is 6 times in 8 years making it to this point. This is, probably the worst thing that could have happened for them was drawing the Pacers.
I kind of hate that stat though. I hate that stat.
It's 6 times in 8 years?
Yeah, because it's not the same team. So I can see 6 and 8. If you had Murray and Jokic, and you say they've been there 6 times the last 8 years. But it's not we've had many versions of the Celtics. So one version of the Celtics one that made it to the conference finals, that was Isaiah Thomas's Celtics. The other Isaiah. Mm-hmm. So Isaiah Thomas and Jay Crowder and Kelly Olynyk.
That was two coaches ago. No, absolutely.
Right.
But
so
the laundry is the same, and for the most part, they've had this tandem. This tandem.
I don't buy it. I reject it. I do because if you really break it down, I think when Kyrie, I'd say it's when Kyrie Irving left. Kyrie Irving leaves the Celtics, and now it's not his team anymore.
It's Jason Tatum's team.
Because it was supposed to be when Kyrie first got there. Tatum was a rookie. Tatum was
it was supposed to be Kyrie
and Hayward and Horford. Gordon Hayward.
Yeah.
And then when they went to the conference finals that year, Kyrie was out. Kyrie, his first year in Boston, he was hurt. So they go to the conference finals with rookie Tatum and Jaylen Brown and Terry Rozier. I got it. 6 out of 8 is factually correct.
Take the 6. Okay, fine.
But details.
Take the 6 out of 8 out. Take the 6 out. Okay, it's fine. Take the 6 out of 8 out. Take the 6 out. That's fine. Heard. Take the 6 out of 8. Take the 6 out of 8 out of the conversation. This tandem, this superstar tandem, this duo, and this organization is very familiar to these parts. So what I thought you were saying a minute ago, though, was not only does their fan base and nationally expect them to be here and beyond, given that they've been here and been in the finals, haven't won the whole thing yet, to say nothing of the record-setting historic team that they were this year. The expectation is that anything short of a championship is a failure. But beyond that, it's like, yeah, ho hum, we don't care what you just did in the last 2 rounds. What have you done for me lately? And the worst thing that could have happened to them from a pressure narrative standpoint, if you will, is drawing the Pacers. It's right, because it's like the Pacers, like, okay, like, you're definitely supposed to beat the Pacers. There's more and more reasons for me to, like, go ahead and just man up, man up, dog, man up, and just take a hit.
Yeah.
You heard this ain't a parole board. This ain't cocaine. Just take a hit. Maybe I was supposed to just take a hit, and just pick the paces in this series. I'm close, very close.
But I'm not close to that. And I think maybe the modern player, when we talked earlier about dynasties not really existing anymore, like modern players don't have the same baggage. They don't have the institutional memory. It's a good thing. They don't have the institutional memory that we do. So if you say Indiana Pacers to somebody who's over 35, they think, okay, whatever, you're going to Pacers. Same thing with the Timberwolves. Oh, the Timberwolves, man, it's not one of those real legacy franchises and all this stuff. That doesn't matter. That doesn't matter to players now. I think they look at Tyrese Haliburton. I think they look at Anthony Edwards. They look at what those teams have done. They know those guys. Everybody's close. Everybody knows each other in the league. So they're not looking at, we're supposed to beat the Pacers. I think they have respect for them. I think the Celtics have respect for the Pacers, and I think the Mavericks, unless they're crazy, the Mavericks have a ton of respect for the Timberwolves. Hey, thank you for watching Brother from Another. If you haven't hit that subscribe button, go ahead and do that now. Don't forget, you can catch us 3 to 4 weekdays on PeacockTV.com and on Sirius XM Channel 85.